Hello, my name is Christopher Jennings, and I am the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program Coordinator at Lincoln College Preparatory Academy. Today, I'm going to walk you through the IB program and how it exists at Lincoln. And so I have a general session outline that you see there. If you're watching this video on YouTube, in the description, I have links so that you can jump to specific sections. But we'll start off with a general overview of IB. So just what it is, how it has existed, and a little bit of the history behind the program. We will then look at the specifics of the program at Lincoln. So we'll look at the implementation of the IB program at LCPA. We will then look at how grades and IB is assessed. And then that will kind of lead to a discussion of how students can earn college credit through the IB program, which will lead well into our look at the benefits of participating in the IB program. We'll follow that up by examining the expectations that Lincoln has of IB students, and we will end the session by looking at the sophomore student timeline of prospective IB students. And so to first provide a bit of an overview of just what IB is, and I'll start by saying that even after today's session, you're not going to have a complete understanding of IB. It is a very detailed program, and even as the coordinator for several years, I am still learning some things about IB. So the program is designed, the diploma program specifically, and you see in that first bullet there, DP. IB is full of acronyms, and so there's another one. And so it's a comprehensive and rigorous two-year curriculum for the diploma program during students' junior and senior years. The program is highly regarded for entry to university education throughout the world. And so the international piece of IB holds true, as universities across the globe do recognize it for entrance into their schools. The program was started in 1968 and was originally designed for the students of diplomats. And in that time, the program has grown immensely. There are over 5,000 schools that participate in the program in 159 different countries. At Lincoln, the IB program has been offered since the mid-1990s. And worldwide, IB is approaching 2 million students. And the program is designed for students who are willing to challenge themselves and work extremely hard. And a potential benefit of participating, and we'll get into more detail about this later, is that it does offer students the opportunity to enter college with enough credit hours to be classified as a sophomore. Now, a lot of that is academic in nature, but you'll see here that IB really does seek to develop students simply beyond the classroom. And IB's mission statement is to create a better world through education. And so while education and academics is a piece of that, what you see there is the IB learner profile character traits. And so IB seeks to develop these traits from students who participate in the program. And so when we look at some of the requirements and things that students are asked to do in IB, it becomes evident that they are looking to push students beyond just academics. With this next section, we are going to examine the IB program and how it is implemented at Lincoln. And so what you have here is the diploma program versus certificate program. But before I dive into those two paths, I think it is important to point out that at Lincoln, all students participate in the IB program. And so if you are going to graduate from Lincoln, you are going to have interactions with the IB program, but there are two different paths. I'm first going to highlight the course or certificate path, and this very much allows student flexibility to determine what degree with which they participate in IB. So with the course path, students choose individual IB courses in one of the 6 content areas. So that could be their first language, English at Lincoln, their second language, history, science, math, or an IB elective. And so they would choose one of those courses or two or three, however many they would want to participate in. And then at the end of the course, they would be assessed by IB, and depending on how that assessment score is awarded, they could qualify for college credit in those individual courses. And so it is very much pick and choose and offers the students flexibility. The diploma program is going to take up the bulk of the conversation today, simply because it is a bigger commitment for students and families, and it is also very nuanced. And so I want to make sure to provide all of the necessary details. So with the full diploma program, students complete and pass internal and external assessments in 6 different content areas. And on the next slide, I'll go over all of the IB classes we offer and what those 6 content areas are. Full diploma program students also must complete the Theory of Knowledge course, a 4,000-word extended essay, and then participate and document their extracurricular CAS experiences. And CAS is an acronym that stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service. And so at Lincoln, you see here are the list of courses that we offer. So these are all of the IB courses. And at the top there, it says diploma program candidates, also known as full DP students. Pick one from each group, and they need a combination of 3 HL and 3 SL. HL stands for higher level, SL stands for standard level. Now, these are all IB classes, so they are going to be rigorous. HL courses typically have a few additional components and are slightly more difficult than the SL courses. But in order to pursue the full diploma program, you must have at least 3 HL and then 3 SL courses. And then obviously to participate in any of the courses, you need to have the necessary prerequisite course and skills. The course certificate candidates, also known as a la carte students, can choose which classes and how many to take, assuming they also have the prerequisites for that course and the knowledge that's needed. And so down at the bottom there, you see the 6 different subject groups. Group 1 is native language, which at Lincoln is English, and we offer literature HL. Language B is your foreign language, and so we offer Chinese, French, and Spanish, and you can see the SL and HL options. Individuals and societies is group 3. The sciences are group 4. Mathematics is group 5, and the arts and electives are group 6. I will point out in group 6 for a full diploma candidate, if you're not kind of traditionally artistically minded with something like visual arts or music, we also do offer psychology and philosophy, or you can choose a second course from groups 1 to 5. So if you see something in one of these groups that you want to take 2 of, then you can do that to fulfill your group 6 elective, IB elective course option. And so on to those requirements. So these are additional requirements for students in the full diploma program. So taking kind of the all of IB in. So the first there is Theory of Knowledge, TOK, and it's its own separate course. So a full IB student would pick one course from each of the groups on the previous slide and also take their Theory of Knowledge course. And in Theory of Knowledge, students explore the nature of knowledge across disciplines. And so it's kind of what you know, how you know. And it's a little bit philosophy, a little bit epistemology, which is branch of philosophy. But it encourages an appreciation of other cultural perspectives. And within this course, students write a TOK essay and complete a TOK exhibition. And actually, all 3 of these are the TOK, the extended essay, and CAS can reach into all of the IB classes. So they kind of make up, this is known as the IB core. And so at Lincoln, TOK is a 3-semester course that students participate in all of their junior year and then first semester of their senior year. So you can see that timeline there at the bottom. The extended essay, which is abbreviated as the EE, is a 4,000-word research paper. It gives students the opportunity to investigate a research question of individual interest. So students pick the subject that they write about, and then they pick what topic within that subject they would like to write about. And this is a college level essay. So it gives students familiarity with independent research and writing skills that will be expected of them in college. However, they have the support of a Lincoln teacher who is specifically they pick and is designated as their EE mentor, who helps guide them through the research process, the formatting of a question and picking that topic, and then also provides some feedback on the student's work. And so the extended essay is a large paper, but students typically start it in their Theory of Knowledge course January of their junior year, and then hopefully wrap it up around December and January of their senior year. So the course is supported in theory, or the essay is supported in the Theory of Knowledge course and also with an extended essay mentor, and students have this paper for around 12 to 13 months to write that 4,000-word essay. The final column there is creativity, activity, and service, which is abbreviated as CAS. And with CAS, IB wants around 150 CAS experience hours. And IB wants these to be somewhat evenly distributed between creative, active, and service-oriented endeavors. And so you have around 50 creativity hours, 50 activity hours experiences, and then 50 service-oriented experience hours. It encourages students to be involved in artistic pursuits, sports, or at other activities and community service. And this is where IB highlights education outside the classroom, so kind of reverting back to those non-classroom focused learner profile traits. And students will have 3 meetings with their CAS coordinator, which is myself, to make sure that they are on track. We'll discuss their progress and just really reflect on what CAS has done for them. And so the CAS timeline starts day 1 of the student's junior year, and it will end in, if they've stayed on top of things, it will end in March of their senior year. If necessary, it can extend a little bit beyond March of their senior year, but around 18 months is the timeline that IB allots for CAS. On the final slide in this section, I just want to go over a couple of those prerequisites, or where we recommend students have necessary knowledge to enter courses. And so you see this flow chart that was designed by our math department. And so a 10th grader wanting to enter IB math, which is this bottom half there. These are all math courses within the IB program. That 10th grade students should have Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry under their belt before entering IB Math. And so if you're a 10th grader in Algebra 2 right now, you would want to look to getting a geometry experience over summer school, so that junior year you could start in with IB Math if that were the path that you were want to choose. We also, to be on the appropriate foreign language level, you need to be able to start level 5 by your junior year, because the minimum threshold to participate in the full diploma program is that you must be at a standard level foreign language class by your senior year. Obviously, you can also do higher level, but the minimum threshold is to be ready for a level 5 by your junior year. And just kind of in planning for IB, whether you're a freshman or a sophomore, we recommend that if you're able to take summer school courses, I've listed some common ones that IB students in the past have taken, so like health, economics and personal finance, graphic design. Those are all graduation requirements that students are able to take care of during their summer school or during summer school opportunities. That could open up some flexibility during their junior and senior years, because full IB students do have a lot of their schedule dictated by what requirements they need for IB. So any credits you can get out of the way ahead of time opens up some degree of flexibility. Also, our move to an 8-period day should help with that. For this section, we're going to be getting a little bit nuanced, a little bit into the details, but I think it is important to have at least somewhat of a grasp and an understanding on how grading works with IB. And so bear with me, I'm going to throw some numbers at you and some different scenarios just to kind of put a structure around the grading with IB. So that first bullet point, I think, is really important to understand. Students will continue to receive their linking grades for progress reports, midterms, at the end of the quarter, and at the end of the semester. So those grades that you see in the gradebook and Infinite Campus will remain the same. And so that's not any different than any other course that they take. The only difference is, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but IB courses are weighted courses. So students can get extra GPA points for IB courses. And so the Lincoln grading is completely the same. The IB grading is performed and done by IB. And so I'll try to put that in the context and exactly what that means. But essentially, IB scores are awarded by IB at the completion of the course. For most courses, that's going to be at the end of their senior year. There are a couple of IB courses students can take and complete their junior year. That is Environmental Systems and Societies, SL, Philosophy, SL, and Psychology, SL. But at the end of a course, a student takes an exam, and then in July, students release their score. What we have here is an example of how IB assesses and awards those scores. This specific course structure is for history. So the students will write an internal assessment. That is a paper within their history course. And that paper makes up 20% of their final IB grade. So history is a 2-year class. So students will write this paper. It will be scored, and that will make up 20% of their IB grade. The other 80% of their IB grade is made up of exams, papers is what IB calls them, that students take at the end of the course. And so for history in May of the student's senior year, the students sit down and take the exam, and it is submitted and graded by IB. Students are then, and so that's 80%, with the other 20% being the IA. The final grade is then put on a 1 to 7 scale, which this is what IB uses, is this 1 to 7 scale, and we'll see why the 1 to 7 is important here in a moment. But when scores are released, that 1 to 7 scale is depending on what score the student received and then what school the student is going to, will dictate whether or not they receive college credit for that course. And so that's how it works on an individual course. For the full diploma program, this is how the assessment structure works. So first, exams take place in May at the completion of the course. For most courses, that would be at the end of senior year. Those courses are scored on a 1 to 7 scale. So a full diploma candidate would be taking 6 courses, with each one of those courses having 7 points possible, which means that there are 42 points possible for the exams. With the Theory of Knowledge course and the extended essay, students have the opportunity to earn up to 3 bonus points. And so with those 42 exam points plus the 3 bonus points, students have the opportunity to earn 45 IB points. In order to earn the full IB diploma, students must earn 24 of those 45 points and then not fail in any of the Theory of Knowledge, extended essay, CAS, the core components to achieve the diploma. And then you see on the sub bullet points there, some other qualifiers. Students can't get a 1 in any subjects. Students must have at least 12 points in higher level courses. They need at least 9 points in their standard level courses. They cannot have more than 2 2s in courses, and then no more than 3 3s or below. Essentially, for the most part, if students score 24 points, they're going to earn the diploma. There are occasionally students who get 24 points but have one of the other disqualifying events, I guess. I think it is important to point out that the IB diploma and the Lincoln graduation diploma are 2 separate things. Students can participate in the full IB diploma and program and not earn the IB diploma, but they still graduate from Lincoln. The IB diploma is just kind of the icing on the cake that students can earn and could come with some extra benefits when they get to college. And as coordinator, I'm hoping to put all students in position to earn that diploma. What we're going to look at now are the benefits of the IB program, and I've broken this slide down into two different categories. Those benefits that are measurable, so things that you can actually kind of like tangibly see and put numbers to, and then those that are intangible. So we'll start off with those that are actual tangible, measurable, and there are data points to support. So the first is prioritized college acceptance, and we'll see an example here in a couple of slides of students who are participating in the full IB diploma program are sought after by universities. And so as they go through that college application process, they are typically pushed along because universities know that those students chose a more difficult path in high school, and IB students tend to continue to have success when they get to the higher education environment. With that, IB students do have the opportunity to gain up to 1 year of college credit or up to $60,000 in scholarships, depending on the student's university and their final IB scores. And so we'll go over and discuss here in a couple of slides how to kind of identify how colleges and universities or what colleges and universities accept IB credit. Students at Lincoln do get weighted grades for their IB courses. So an A in an IB course is worth 5 GPA points, a B is worth 4. And so that's how you get students who have GPAs of 4.4 as they graduate from Lincoln. And for this reason, students in the full IB program do have the advantage, since most, if not all, of their classes are IB courses, that they typically dominate the class rankings. And since I have been a teacher here, the full diploma candidates have been valid. All the valedictorians have been full diploma candidates. So those are kind of tangible things that you can put numbers to and measure benefits of IB. Things that you maybe won't be able to measure, but that do exist, or at least I feel they exist within Lincoln's IB program. That first one there is the LCPA support systems. By participating in the full IB program, students are taking college level courses and doing college level coursework in their high school years. But one of the big differences than doing it in college is they do have the support systems in place that a high school provides, and especially a high school like Lincoln. Our IB teachers are all very devoted to students and to the students' success. And so there very much is a feeling of the students and teachers are all pushing in the same direction to put students in the best position possible to have that success. On top of the teacher support system, students also have kind of the community that exists and is forced to exist within the full diploma cohort, because students have other students in their classes that they will have in probably many of their classes because of their full diploma status, who are experiencing the same challenges. And so they have that support system in place to kind of help each other get through the program. And then my position as coordinator is to advocate on behalf of IB students, again, in an effort to put them in the best possible position to be successful. And in preparation for college, IB provides a strong background and readiness for university challenges. There's time management skills that are forced to be exercised during IB that students also will be using when they reach the university level. And then there's a maturity that IB pushes students to. If you think of things like CAS and the extended essay, where students are often interacting one-on-one with adults and kind of on an even playing field, that leads to greater maturity for those students, which also will benefit them as they move beyond high school. And then the actual difficulty of the work eases the transition in college, because students have been doing college level coursework throughout their junior and senior years. And so I mentioned prioritized college acceptance. This slide just shows that. And so in the left column, you have various universities. The second column, you have the acceptance rate of everyone who applies. The third column, you have the IB student acceptance rate. And then in the last column, you have the difference between the general population versus IB student acceptance rate. And you can see, again, in this sampling of however many schools that is, each one IB students are accepted at a higher rate than non-IB students. Now, your specific university may not be up there. And so what I highly recommend students or families to do is if you have an idea of what university or a handful of universities that you might be considering once you leave high school, you can look up and see how they accept IB in terms of the opportunities for college credit. And so what I do when a student comes to me and says, I'm considering this school, how do they recognize IB? Go to Google and search, University of blank. So University of Missouri, IB credit. And that will pull up typically a page that's devoted to that university and how they accept IB credit. Some schools are going to have very friendly acceptance policies. Some schools will have less friendly, and there will be a few schools who don't accept IB at all. Now, I will say that those schools are few and far between. Most universities, especially over the last decade or so, have broadened their acceptance of the IB program as they become more familiar with it and as IB has grown within the United States. And so what I've provided there is a list of some quick examples of universities that have very friendly IB acceptance policies. And so Truman State in Missouri, or the University of Tampa, and then Tulsa all have similar policies where if you earn the full IB diploma, they award up to 30 credit hours. And so at those schools, you would essentially be entering the school as a sophomore. The University of Nebraska-Lincoln gives IB students who score a 25 on their ACT and have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, $60,000 in scholarships over the course of 4 years. So it's a $15,000 per year scholarship. Plus, they give credit for the individual courses that you earn credit in. And so you could potentially be entering the university as a sophomore with $60,000 in scholarships to pay for what would be the final 3 years of your college. Colorado universities grant a minimum of 24 credit hours for earning the full diploma with a minimum of 4 on each exam. So if you get a score of a 4 on each exam, you can earn up to 24 credit hours at Colorado universities. And then Kansas public universities award college credit for any course, whether it's SL or HL, that a student earns a 4 in. So those Kansas public universities, think KU, K-State, Wichita State, Emporia State. There are a couple others that I'm missing, but those schools will give you college credit in any course that you earn a 4 or above in. And then it's also used as a tool for international university recognition or entrance for international universities. And so keeping in line with that idea of benefits of IB, why would you choose the more difficult path during your junior and senior year? These are a list of pros and cons that it was provided by students. And so I'll quickly go through them, but you'll notice that some of the pros are also viewed as cons and vice versa. So the first, all the pros, it's challenging coursework. You have the opportunity for college credit. Alumni attest that college is easier with the program than without it, and data bears this out, that college retention rates as well as college graduation rates are higher for full IB students. IB courses do force you into a deeper level of thinking and critical thinking. Students have said that the courses are interesting, and then students in most IB classes will have some say in portions of the course and what they learn about. Most courses, even math, has a paper that students have to write, and in most of those papers, students kind of get to choose the topic or direction that they go in. And kind of in that same vein, students are prepared for college and college level writing. They are the hardest courses at LCPA within the full diploma program. program, there is a great sense of community that exists. We've talked about the weighted classes and then how that can be beneficial during the college application process. And because the program is writing intensive, students say that their writing is improved throughout the program. The full IB teachers tends to be very helpful and supportive of the students and the program. And then there are those scholarship opportunities. The cons, and again, I'm going to go through these quickly, so feel free to pause it, but challenging coursework appears on both sides. There can, and I guess the second bullet point deserves a little bit more attention, it can limit the academic schedule. There are only so many hours in a student's school schedule, and IB does restrict that to a certain degree. So if a student wants to take multiple electives, full IB may not be the path for them just because IB can limit their schedule a little bit, although with the 8 periods day, that might open up some opportunities. IB is not ideal for procrastinators because there are deadlines and there are deadlines that you cannot miss as you participate in the full IB program. It is a lot of work. They're the hardest courses at LCPA. And then the core of classwork or homework generally takes longer. A lot of writing, time consuming, those are all kind of the same, around the same ideals. Time management skills are crucial. Students will be working on multiple papers and projects at once, and as an IB staff, we do attempt to spread those out as much as possible, but IB is somewhat relentless in that there will constantly be due dates, and occasionally those will be overlapping to some degree. So time management and kind of self-discipline are skills that are necessary in full IB. Students have to be driven to the program. It is incredibly tough for students that don't actually want to be in it, so this needs to be something that the student desires and wants to pursue on their own. And then CAS and the extended essay do take up time outside of the normal school day. So those are things to consider as well. Okay, to start off this final section, we're going to talk about some of the kind of nuts and bolts of the program, and then if you're interested in signing up, what that process will look like. So first, the cost of the full diploma program is $714. Each IB exam costs $119. If you're a full diploma program student, you are taking 6 of those IB courses and 6 of those exams. And so that's where that number 714 comes from IB. However, currently the cost of the full IB program is subsidized by the district, and students are only responsible for $200 of that $714, assuming that they make their best attempt to fulfill all the diploma program requirements. If you are a course student, a certificate student, you are kind of taking the a la carte option and picking and choosing. Each individual exam is $119, but that cost is subsidized down to $50. And again, it's capped at $200. So if you were somehow to be a certificate candidate and taking 5 exams, probably wouldn't happen. But if you were, you wouldn't pay $250, you would be capped at $200. But let's say you are taking 2 exams. You're taking an English exam, and you're also taking the IB Spanish exam. You would pay $100 total, $50 for each one of those courses. And the only time that would be different is if a student fails to meet requirements, then they will inherit the full financial responsibility for that course. Our expectations of students participating in IB is to have an understanding that the workload is going to get progressively harder, and that students must focus in order to submit their IB components punctually and to the highest standard that they are capable. That goes back into that idea that we expect Lincoln students to attempt everything at their highest potential. From families and parents, what we want from you is support and assistance in monitoring their progress throughout the program. As coordinator, I will update you from time to time. Teachers will as well. But if students are falling behind or something like that, then we'll reach out to you. And what we ask is just for support in that and understanding that what we want is the same thing that you want, and that's to put your child in the best position possible to be successful. So now that we've kind of been over the options and what IB is, what options exist within IB, and then what details specifically exist within the full diploma program. Here are the two options. So you've got on the left, actually let's do the right side first. You've got the certificate or course path. This is where students kind of pick and choose and take courses individually. Students take exams at the end of the course for college credit, and then taking the exam, they need to participate. Students taking the exam need to participate in internal and external exams for the course. If you are choosing the course or certificate path, you do not need to complete the sign-up process that I'm going to go through here in a couple slides. If you're on the left side and desire to pursue the IB full diploma, that means that you're going to take 6 subject group classes, typically 3 higher level and 3 standard level courses. You are also going to take the Theory of Knowledge course, complete CAS, and complete the extended essay. If that is the path for you, then here's kind of what those steps look like. In mid-January, I've held individual class meetings and collected basic info from students who are interested. These took place through students' American history courses. February 2nd, I'm holding a parent informational session. That might be what many of you are sitting through right now. February 11th is where candidates who are interested by that date, February 11th, candidates who are interested must submit a writing sample via a Google form, and I've provided that form and link to students in their Google Classroom pages. I provided it to them when I visited their American history class, and I will provide it to you here in just a moment. And then students who submit a writing sample, we will hold small group discussions with those candidates who are interested. That will be myself, probably another IB teacher or two, an administrator, as well as a few sophomore students who are interested in pursuing the full IB program. And essentially it will be an opportunity for students to ask us questions and us to ask the students questions, just to make sure that the program is the right fit and that students know the path that they are going down. And then in early March, students who choose to participate can register for their IB courses with their counselors. These specific links I will post there. You can feel free to pause or screenshot it. But in class, students completed step 1. If they were interested in full IB, they filled out information there. And by filling out that information on step 1, they've been added to my email list, who I have reached out to and provided kind of all the detailed steps if they're interested in pursuing full IB. Step 2 is what many of you are attending right now, that parent meeting. The writing sample that I've mentioned is due by February 11th. I've already had a few submitted, but the link is there. Step 4 is that small group discussion, and the exact date will be determined, but anyone who submits a writing sample, we will have a small group discussion with. And then step 5 is where that registration with counselors takes place. Now, if you're viewing this session on your own and not live, if you've got any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. My email address is there. If you are sitting through the live session right now, hopefully we've been able to answer some questions as we go. And if you have more as we wrap this up, feel free to ask them. Thank you. And if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.